Hello there, everybody. Sean Sheehan back here with another edition of the betting show for Sherdog.com. And this week we will be looking at Bellator 270 and UFC 268. And I will be giving my top 5 bets for the weekend. I think I had 2 out of 5 last week. Not the worst. I got my Abigail Montez bet in as well from the week before, and she was, I think, plus 380 when I gave her to win against Clarissa Shields. So not doing too bad over the first 3 weeks. But we're coming into the 4th week here, and this is the biggest week so far. You know, we have 2 fantastic cards. From top to bottom, stacked UFC 268, Bellator 270 here in Ireland. I'm about to head up here now the next day or so to cover the card, and it's going to be a really fun weekend. The fights for me, obviously big Irish interest here, and in Gary as well, big Irish interest over there, and the huge title fights we have in the UFC. Obviously Colby Covington rematching against Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title, and Zhang Weili taking on Rose Namajunas for the title that Namajunas beat her for, the strawweight title. And then we have Peter Queally against Patricky Pitbull in Dublin for the Bellator lightweight title. And we have the likes of Michael Chandler against Justin Gaethje. Frankie Edgar's on the card here. Over in Dublin we have James Gallagher against Patchy Mix, Pedro Carvalho and Daniel Weichel. Fabian Edwards is on the card. Over here in the UFC we have Ala Quinta and Bobby Green. There's a litany of mixed martial arts for the degenerates out there. Before I get into my bets, please bet responsibly. Only bet what you can bet, even bet less. And also, take some of my bets here with a pinch of salt. I'm not a betting expert. I'm an MMA journalist who's been doing it for the last 7 or 8 years now, maybe more at this stage. I might have a little bit of advice or a few tidbits that you might enjoy, or I might say something you totally disagree with, and I might send you on another bet. So keep all that in mind, and please bet responsibly. Don't bet too much. So with that in mind, let's get straight into it. And my first bet is going to be from one of the title fights, and it's going to be from UFC 268 all the way over in Madison Square Garden. And I'm going for Rose Namajunas, straight up. She's just about even money. I was looking at it last night. She was plus 105 in some places. Now she's minus 105, so she's just around the even money. I think fluctuating, kind of gone in and out over the last couple of days. And the reason I'm going for this is, I think it's an even fight, and both of them being around even money, I think is just about right. But the reason I'm going for Rose is, she has proven this before, you know? She has proven she can go in there and she can knock someone out, beat them comprehensively, and then come in and do it again, and do it in a different manner. Obviously, the Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight, she knocked her out the first time, and then went to a decision and beat her, firmly, I suppose, over the 5-round distance. Coming into the first fight, I thought Zhang Weili was the better fighter, was the favourite. Now, not to say Rose isn't a good fighter, but you know what I mean? She was just the one I picked. But you can't deny what happened in that fight. You can't deny the opening that Rose Namajunas found and executed and won the fight with. You can't deny that. And you also can't deny her ability to see different things and pick out different things. And her coach, Trevor Whitman, is, in my opinion, the best coach in the world. I think he's absolutely fantastic. So I find it very hard to pick against Rose Namajunas in a fight like that. You know, in a fight where I think it's going to go longer. I think it's going to turn into a more tactical fight. I think if it gets into a technical fight, I think Rose Namajunas will win that. Now, I'm not writing off Zhang Weili after one fight. She absolutely could win this fight. But when you're giving them up both at the exact same price, at even money, you know, double your money basically, put it in 100, get out 100, or less than that, a fiver, get out a fiver. I think you have to go for Rose. You have to show her that respect, and I think that is the smart bet here. I think that's the smart line. I just think, I think as well, Rose is smart enough to use kind of, or maybe she's not that much taller or bigger than Zhang Weili, but she uses her length very well against someone like Zhang Weili, who is, you know, maybe a power striker inside. Maybe she hasn't all the knockouts at the top level or anything like that. You know, win 5 rounds with Namajunas or with Jędrzejczyk and then got knocked out obviously by Namajunas. But she is a powerhouse inside, and I think Rose Namajunas' boxing and her footwork and her, as I mentioned, her use of lint is a real deterrent for that style. It's a really, really hard style versus style matchup. You know, you talk about horses for courses, and I think maybe this is the one for Rolls. You know, when this rematch was announced, I think everyone was kind of like, oh, it's probably not the fight to make right now. And, you know, but the more we kind of got into it, the more of a chance I think people have given Zhang a lot. But I think I've kind of recalibrated that again and just looked at it purely fighter A versus fighter B. And Rose Namajunas is the pick here for me. I have to go for her. Plus 100, even money. We'll say that, even money. By the time this comes out, you know, she could be out another bit. But round even money right now. So I'll move on. The next bet. And what a big night it's going to be for Trevor Whitman in that gym. You know, in fact, I have all three of these fighters here. We will get to one of them in a second again. But the second fighter I'm going for here is, and the second fight I'm going for is Justin Gaethje. And he's fighting Michael Chandler. I just think that, look, I think the one big issue I think for Gaethje here, if it was straight up both of these guys, I'm picking Gaethje most of the time to win this fight. Michael Chandler's just about, I see him here in a couple of places, plus 170, 175 in other places. Look, it's a fair line. But I do think, and I said this last week as well about what fight was the Glover Teixeira Blachowicz fight, but I'm going to say it again and hopefully I'll be right this time. But I just think he's maybe a little bit better in the bigger areas, you know? I think, you know, and he's minus 177 as Gaethje. I think his wrestling is good enough to stop the wrestling of Chandler, and I think his striking is good enough maybe to avoid the big strikes of Chandler now that he's kind of adjusted his striking style and is a more, you know, tactical and technical striker than the madman he once was. Now, he's still a bit of a madman, don't get me wrong, but I just think those leg kicks coming in as well. You know, we've seen Chandler in the past, one of the first guys even to get badly calf kicked and beaten because of it. And I think he will do that here to him. I think Justin Gaethje will do that. He will kick that leg a lot really early. Watch inside the first 10 seconds, that leg will probably be kicked 2 or 3 times already, I would say. And I think that's going to be an issue. If he can avoid the big left hook and the big right hand of Chandler, I think Justin Gaethje will go a long way to win this fight, to be honest. The one area I think is a big issue for Justin Gaethje, and you know, you couldn't help but see it in the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight, is his jiu-jitsu, is his ground game. Look, his wrestling is very good, and if he gets on top, he's very good as well, but his jiu-jitsu is a big differential between some of the best in the world. Is Chandler one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world? He's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but I would say he's more of a similar style, a wrestling style. But if he does get him down, you know, Chandler could eat him up, because I think Gaethje, for a long time, we kind of said, oh, he's a wrestler, but he's turned into this great striker. I think we might have to recalibrate that a little bit as well. Don't get me wrong, the wrestling is good, but the grappling maybe isn't the best. And look, you're fighting Khabib as well, it's a different story, I know, but he made it look so easy, you couldn't help but maybe criticise that part of Justin Gaethje's game. But still in all, I'm still going for him. I think he'll be too much for Michael Chandler on the feet. It's a pity it's not 5 rounds, to be honest, although it'll be on at like 6 o'clock in the morning here in Ireland, so I'm probably glad it's not 5 rounds, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going for Justin Gaethje up here. I think maybe this is, I was looking at that price as well. Maybe we look at that again at the end here when I go through some of the odds. But yeah, Justin Gaethje straight up minus 177. Right, next bet here I'm going for is my one bet from Bellator this weekend, and I'm going for James Gallagher plus 220. You look, you can call me biased. I went for Brian Moore 2 weeks ago and he didn't win, but he almost won. He did arm bar in the last second, and he had a rear naked choke as well. He very nearly won that fight. So you know, maybe my bias wasn't too bad in that one. You know, he did end up losing, but anyway, I just think the reason I'm going for James Gallagher plus 220, right? I think this is a closer fight than that. And look, if this was maybe in America or neutral ground, maybe people would say different, but this is in Ireland, don't forget that. And this is the first event. You'll hear my preview probably before this video comes out. This is the first event back in years in Ireland. Like, the regulations only stopped last week. There has been nothing. No one has been able to go anywhere. We've been locked in our houses basically for the last 2 years. And people are going to be insane in the crowd in this. People are going to be roaring James Gallagher on this. Patchy Mix is going to have a barrage of Irish people onto him. You know, he's going, and it's going to be support from James Gallagher. I wouldn't say the Irish crowd is that bad in terms of like abuse or anything like that. I don't think he'll get any of that. But James Gallagher will 100% get the support here, and the same with Peter Queally and the other Irish guys on the card. It's going to be a tough night for the non-Irish guys fighting the Irish guys in this card, and I think it's going to play a factor. And I think this should be more of an even fight for James Gallagher to be plus 200 or 220, sorry, plus 220 in some places. Let me just look here as well. In other places, he is he's plus 220, plus 200, plus 230. Actually, I'm here looking at one place. He's gone out since I looked at these last night. That's that's a big price. That is a really big price. And Patchy Mix is minus 300, minus 275. I might be calling it totally wrong, but I don't think it's that big of a differential. Look, if Patchy was a favourite, maybe the same as Gaethje, maybe a minus 177 or maybe minus 150, yeah. But I don't think it's that big a fight. James Gallagher as well has changed up his training and gone to James Krause and been trained there for maybe the last year or so. So that could play a big part here as well and be a big difference. So I'm going for James Gallagher. I'm going for a plus 220. That's the type of bet afterwards I think it'll make you look awful smart if it comes up, and I think it will. I think it will, but we'll wait and see on that one anyway, and we'll see on Friday night. I'll be there. I'll let you all know who wins anyway. I'll keep an eye on me. My next bet, so I've gone for Rose, Gaethje and James Gallagher all straight up. The next one straight up here, and let me check this price again in case it was wrong last night, because I didn't believe this price when I saw it first, and it is right. It is right. Frankie Edgar plus 155 to beat Chito Vera. Now, I talked a good bit about Frankie Edgar over the last few years, and look, I think Frankie has done all he has done in the world of mixed martial arts, and I would love to see someone like Frankie Edgar retire. He's been a champion, no need to fight anymore. I think Frankie's earned a lot of money, and it's not just Frankie. There's other guys like that as well who I think have done a lot in the sport and have no need to fight anymore. And, you know, in other sports, they would step away at that time. And it's a tough thing to say and a tough thing for me sitting here, an easy thing for me to say, a tough thing for him to do. No doubt about it. But still in all, that doesn't mean I don't respect Frankie Edgar and I don't respect his ability. And I don't think Frankie Edgar is the fighter he once was. Let's put it that way. But I don't think he's gone down far enough to be an underdog against Chito Vera. Now, no disrespect to Chito Vera, he's a very, very good fighter, a good UFC fighter, absolutely deserves his place in the top half maybe of the rankings. At that, well, maybe not top half of the rankings, but you know what I mean, the top half of the roster in the UFC's bantamweight division. But I don't see it. I think Frankie Edgar is still a better fighter than Chito Vera. I think he is. I think he's still on a higher level than Chito Vera. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the betting odds know more than me, but I don't think so. I'm going for Frankie Edgar here. I was very surprised at this line. I was expecting Frankie Edgar to be a big underdog here. Or sorry, to be a big favourite here. Literally a big... I was thinking Frankie Edgar might be minus 300, honestly, when I came into this. I know maybe I'm completely calling this wrong. But I think Frankie Edgar will go in here and take Vera down. Honestly, I do. I think he'll take him down. I think he's a better striker as well. I don't know. Again, don't take my advice for it. Maybe do. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you're thinking like, yeah, this is bad. Please leave comments in the comment section below and tell me why I'm wrong. But I don't know. When I saw this price, this was the one. This is my number one bet for the week. Frankie Edgar plus 155 over Chito Vera. I think this is a dead cert, lads. I think this is if you as my good friends Chad Dundas and Ben Folk say, if you've a fiver or a tenner that you want to burn and never see again, Frankie Edgar's the man to put it on. We're back in Frankie this weekend, lads. We're going for Frankie Edgar. So let's go with that one. And that's it. That's my 4 bets. So I'm going for the flyer now. My flyer, right. And I mentioned earlier, I'm going for 3 Trevor Whitman guys. It's Cameron Usman here. And it's Usman by submission at 12-1, right? Now, this is a flyer. This might not necessarily happen. I'm going to give a big bet every week, right? And this is my big bet for this week. I was looking at Usman by knockout, right? And that would have been one of my bets. I'll pull it up here. It is, if I can find it quickly. Come on now, Shani. It is plus 155, right? That's a pretty good bet. I think that's the most likely outcome. Not going to lie to you, not going to say the submission is the most likely outcome at 12 to 1. I think the knockout is the most likely outcome. But to go from 3 to 2, 1.5 to 1 to 12 to 1 for just a different finish. Like, imagine if he knocks him down, takes the back, chokes him out. That's very possible. Very possible, I think. You know, to go to 12 to 1, I do think Usman here to win by decision is plus 190. I'd rather go for the 12 to 1 than that. I think he's going to finish him. I just think his striking has improved too much. I think he's become a more deadly fighter. I don't think Colby Covington fought the right fight the first time. Very good fight and, you know, relatively even fight. I thought he won a couple of rounds even, or maybe one round. I can't remember now, but he definitely won at least one round. But I think Usman has gone to another level since that fight, and I'm not sure Colby has. So it's a flyer. It might not happen, but at 12 to 1 to get the finish by submission, Kamaru Usman, I like that. I'm going with it. That's my flyer. That's my flyer for this week. Right. Let's take a look at some of the other bets. Give you some of the prices. These are not my picks. These are not necessarily what I agree with or say. I'll just run through a few of the prices here. One bet I do like, looking at the Bellator here, Kieran Clark, very good Irish prospect coming through. Minus 145, minus 185 here in some places, but minus 145. Jordan Martin's a good test for him, no doubt, but Kieran Clark's a good fighter in home country again. I think that's a good price. One to throw into an accumulator, I think Gokhan Sakaram fighting Rob Beach. He's minus 410, so I think he will win, but throw it into an accumulator. Now, the main event here, Patricky Fahea against Peter Queally. Queally is the underdog. I see he's around plus 166 here. Fahea is around minus 100. Not surprised by that line, to be honest. Not surprised. Was looking at Queally, was thinking about Queally, but I think there are a few other better bets out there. There is an Irish accumulator as well. And this might be one of my flyers as well. I was going to go for this for a flyer, but if you want to go Gallagher, Queally, and then Ian Gary over in the UFC card, that's 10 to 1. 10 to 1 for those three Irish guys. I mean, you know, have a few pints of Guinness. St. Patrick's Day might come early. You'd never know. You'd never know. But yeah, Peter Queally, I'd probably avoid him at that price. If he was a little bit more, if he was plus 200 like Gallagher, I'd probably go for it. But I think that's a relative even. Look, I'd probably avoid Fahey as well at that price, to be honest. So, then obviously with the Gallagher fight, which I spoke about, Daniel Weichel is a minus 240 favourite over Pedro Carvalho, who's plus 195. I think that's just about right as well. So yeah, some of the other cards in the undercard, Danny Nyland minus 600 here in some places, plus 400 Audrey Karouche. That's a big line. I'd probably avoid that too, although I think Danny will win it. But I think probably should be closer maybe to minus 300, minus 400 there. Not a lot of tape on Audrey. So, and the two Irish debuters, Dara Kelly and Steve Costello. Dara Kelly minus 400, Costello minus 194. So not much value to be got or to be had there. Then UFC 268, we have Usman and Covington obviously topping the bill. Usman is minus 290 just straight up, with Colby Covington being plus 225-ish or thereabouts. Namajunas, Willie even, I spoke about that earlier on. A very, very interesting one there, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Gaethje, as I mentioned, minus 177, up to minus 200 some places, 210 even. I see him here in one place. You can get Chandler anywhere from around plus 175. I see him here in one place, all the way down to 140. So, yeah. Once it goes up to kind of minus 210 for Gaethje, I would avoid that. But if you can get him at minus 177-ish or less, I would be taking that. I think the Quarantillo Burgos fight's a very interesting one. I'm not sure who'll win that. I've gone for Burgos in my official picks, but he's minus 210 plus 160. I would think I would avoid that one as well. Frankie Edgar, Vera, definitely go for Edgar there, plus 155. I see Marlon Vera is minus 170 in some places. Madness altogether. Ally Quinton went, he's an underdog against Bobby Green. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I went plus 150, minus 170 for Bobby Green. Shabazian, an underdog barely against Imavov. I'd be going for Imavov at that price, to be honest. Minus 150, minus 130 in some places as well. And then Ian Gary, my boy, interview up on Sherdog. He's minus 355. That's a good price, to be honest. If I have another accumulator, Ian Gary winning that fight without a shadow of a doubt, I think he should be closer to minus 600, to be honest. I think he's a big favourite there. Plus 280 for Jordan Williams. Foot fight as well. Chris Billett even against Jan Vellante. They're both around the same, minus 110. So yeah, whoever you fancy in that one, I'd probably just go for Vellante, to be honest, in that one. Although a big fan of Chris Billett. But yeah, lots and lots of good fun fights this week. It's going to be a busy week. Going to be very tired by the end of it, but you'd have it no other way. Just to recap, so on my bets for this week, Rose Namajunas plus 110 to retain her UFC strawweight title. I'm going for Justin Gaethje, the highlight, to beat Michael Chandler at minus 177. I'm going for James Gallagher, the pride of Tyrone, at plus 220 to beat Patchy Mix in the Pint Depot in Dublin, Ireland. I'm going for the legend, the former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar, to beat Chito Vera at plus 155. And I'm going for the champion Kamaru Usman to get the submission in my flyer of the week at plus 1200 over Chaos Colby Covington. That's it from me. My name is Sean Sheehan, and this was the the Sherdog betting show. That's force of habit. My apologies. I'll see you all next time. Good luck.